In today's edition of Campus Reports, Kimberly Morris informs us of changes happening at the UNM Bookstore.
Sonia Rivera has the scoop on the new cell phone ban in Albuquerque.
We give you an inside look at the UNM rec services.
And Meghan White discovers the truth behind the popular MySpace website.
I'm Aaron Links.
And I'm Janelle Newman. All these stories and more on Campus Reports.
Local coverage. Student perspectives. At the University of New Mexico. From the KNME studios, this is Campus Report.
Every year, UNM students buy textbooks at the University Bookstore and spend a lot of money in the process. But now the way students get their textbooks and the price for them may be changing. Kimberly Morris reports.
For years, university bookstores has been the main source of buying textbooks for students. But as prices have gone up, many students, such as Davey Ferry, have found different ways of getting their books.
I can usually go on Amazon and get them for quite a bit cheaper, so I just don't mess with it.
With prices being much cheaper and the number of used books available on Half and Amazon, this is becoming a new outlet for students. But UNM Bookstore Director Melanie Sparks sees some potential problems.
So you might be able to go into half.com or Amazon or something and say, I'm looking for Myers Psychology. But it might not be the Myers Psychology with the passcode that our particular faculty member wants, or with the CD that is now, it almost makes this piece custom.
This, however, still leaves students wondering why textbooks are so expensive and why the bookstore doesn't have very many used textbooks.
They're trying to get it so that we don't get used books. So they don't make money on used books. So the new editions come out more frequently, and then what they do is they'll bundle them. So you get packages now. So it'll be with a CD or with a study guide or with a passcode. All of those kinds of different things now creates a special, almost customized package for that faculty member for that course.
But help for students' pocketbooks may be on the way.
Environmental Accounting Office, the GAO, they've been doing studies, and publishers have actually gone and testified in front of Congress about textbook costs and some of their practices. So it's getting a lot more attention.
This is Kimberly Morris reporting.
Each day, millions of teenagers and young adults log on to MySpace to communicate with friends. But how dangerous is MySpace? And just who do you let into your home with the click of a mouse? Meghan White has the details.
Would you let a stranger into your house?
Many parents don't know it exists, but kids who are under the age limit create accounts with MySpace each day, opening the door to online predators lurking on the other side of the screen. Middle school student Brianna Hoso, only 12 years old, already has a MySpace.
My parents know that I have one, but they don't know when I get on it.
So many predators find the youngest of them all to contact. Nicole Russ, age 13, is one of them.
Well, I got some friend requests that I didn't know, and then I looked at them and they were kind of creepy. They were like older than me, they were like 19.
What do these predators want from such young women? UNM student Ashton Pick found out firsthand when a stalker approached her on campus, a place where even cyberspace couldn't protect her.
And he looked at me and he said, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so."
And the conversations began to get more and more uncomfortable each time.
And then he told me that I was his dream girl. And I was like, "What are you talking about? How, like, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have dreams about you all the time."
Meantime, Ashton hoped it was all a nightmare.
I had seen him at school previous that day at the sub, and I could tell that he was following me because I could see him, at the corner of my eye, and I had gone to run errands around school, and he was everywhere that I was.
Contact on MySpace was the least of Ashton's concerns when the verbal harassment began.
He kept walking faster and faster, and he was walking behind me, and he was saying very provocative things like, "Hey, I want to take all your clothes off, I want to be on top of you."
The stalker didn't give up. He began to try harder and in a far more physical way. When the UNM police went after the stalker, Ashton finds it hard to forget what they found on his person.
He didn't have any identification, so then they asked to see in his coat, and he had rope, duct tape, condoms, and lubricant in his coat.
Things began to spiral so out of control that Ashton's friend Justin had to step in. After the confrontation, the stalker had a few parting words.
So Justin told him to leave and to get out of here, and asked where his car was, and he said that he didn't have a car there again, and so that he had to go back to school. And so the kid started walking away and turns around and looks at me and goes, "Don't worry, sweetie, I'll be seeing you again real soon."
Ashton and her parents filed a police report, but other than that, the police said there was really nothing they could do. They did suggest Ashton get off MySpace immediately. The entire situation has led Ashton to be far more cautious. Stalkers know the tricks to get personal information to find you.
Where? That's so scary!
To protect yourself, if you are on MySpace, never reveal personal information like a phone number or address. Don't let your children register too early. The minimum age for MySpace use is 14, because you never know who could come knocking at your MySpace door. For Campus Report, I'm Meghan White.
Meghan White joins us today to talk about the dangers of MySpace. Welcome, Meghan.
Thanks for having me.
What inspired you to do this story?
Well, I was inspired because so many people are on MySpace and they're totally unaware of the dangers that lurk by using the website.
Do you have any personal negative experiences with MySpace?
I don't. I'm personally on MySpace, and I've had a few encounters with people through messages that I just choose to ignore.
Okay, so that's how you protect yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. You said you can set your profile on private. How exactly do you do that?
You can go to your profile settings and set your profile to private, or just, there's other privacy settings that you can use to protect yourself.
Okay. Is there anything that parents can do to protect their children?
I would say just monitor their children very closely. That's probably all they can do.
Okay. And what advice do you give to future MySpace patrons?
I would just say to be very careful, use the profile settings to guard yourself, and just don't talk to people that make you uncomfortable.
Okay. That was a very exciting story. Thank you for being here, Meghan.
Thanks.
Are you often looking for something new and exciting to do? UNM's recreational services can help. Rec Services offers many different programs like skiing, snowshoeing, and even rock climbing. Laura Montoya is the Assistant Director of Public Relations for Rec Services. She says that any student can find what they're looking for at Rec Services.
Because recreational services is so diverse, there's something for everybody. So if you're into the outdoor aspect, it's going to be the most popular for you. If you're into the fitness aspect and going to spinning classes, or what we call lobo cycling, or getting a personal trainer, or doing salsa aerobics, that's going to be the most popular program for you.
So go on down to Rec Services inside Johnson Center and see what this program has for you. Or you can check online at recservices.unm.edu.
You see people using them almost anywhere, in the store, at the park, on the sidewalk, even in the classroom. Cell phones are everywhere. But as Sonia Rivera reports, you will no longer see people using cell phones while driving in Albuquerque.
This February, Albuquerque became the second city in New Mexico to pass an ordinance prohibiting the use of handheld cell phones while driving. Now drivers have to use headsets if they want to talk during their drive and resist the temptation to text message. Or they can do what this driver did and pull over. Even though most of us use our cell phones while driving, not everyone is upset about the new ordinance.
And I feel good about it, because myself and other drivers, I've seen how we can drive kind of erratic and not pay attention and almost rear-end people.
Some drivers feel safer.
So as long as you have a headset, I don't see the big deal. I think it's better.
You think it's better?
I ride a motorcycle, and people come about this close to hitting me all the time, and they're always on their cell phones. So they just don't, they're distracted. So I think it's a good thing.
And if safer roads are not motivation enough to put down the cell phones, maybe the fines are. For the first 30 days, officers will be issuing oral warnings, then written warnings for another 30 days. But after that, the fines could hurt your wallet. First-time offenders will be fined $100, and second-time offenders will be fined $200. Angelica Nelson feels these fines are appropriate.
Well, yeah, because if you say your first offense is $25, that's not going to affect people. $25 is easy. But at $100, that hurts. And especially if you're hitting young people. And it hurts me, even though I'm not young.
But not everyone agrees with the amount.
That's a little steep, but I think the reason they're doing it is probably to, it's a good way of enforcing it because it's money, and we all like money and hate losing it, so.
The new ordinance doesn't seem to have drivers too riled up, but it could be that some are just skeptical of its enforcement.
You know, you have to drive by the police and they have to actually see you. I think it's not as concrete a thing as having a radar gun and saying you were speeding, you know.
Especially for something not so obvious like text messaging.
Probably going to be hard to enforce, especially because they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court that you were text messaging. And how are they going to do that when they're driving and they can't see you with your phone down at your lap?
So when the engine starts, Albuquerque drivers are going to have to plug in the headsets or turn off the cell phones. For Campus Reports, I'm Sonia Rivera.
In 2001, Santa Fe became the first city in New Mexico to ban the use of handheld cell phones.
Well, there goes another edition of Campus Reports.
Join us here next time as we uncover the hot news and the burning issues around UNM and the state of New Mexico.
I'm Aaron Links.
And I'm Janelle Newman.
Thanks for watching.